or that you are in the midst of going to work without many a challenge. Now, if you're still at home, please carry a jacket, carry a raincoat. If you're a lady, you could also carry a scarf. Keep yourself warm, because we don't know, it could rain again sometime later in the day, and of course we need you healthy. If you expose your chest to so much coldness, it could come out, turn into something that may be medical for you, and we don't want you to incur those costs or even be in pain. Well, this is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am with the fantastic three, that is Jerome, Paul, Sonko, Chantal, Olive, and of course the old man of Good Morning Uganda, that is Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. And of course, I would like to find out, one of us usually has problems with rain in the morning. How are you, Jerome Paul?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
And when you mentioned the rains since yesterday,
yes,
I think since the week started, it has actually been pouring as early as 6 in most parts of the country. And of course, I think for those who have no vehicles, personal vehicles like me, would definitely be experiencing some key hindrances as they're heading out to work. But of course, we do have some early birds who normally kickstart off their day with a lot of energy. Whether it has rained or not, you're definitely going to be out there trying to hunt for some good money on a daily. So you always have to improvise. There are borders, there are people who actually go in for, let's say, Ubers, others going for taxis, costers, all of that. But it's a cold Wednesday, like you've mentioned, and for those who have actually woken up as early as we have here, we'll definitely be able to experience or tell a story for those who are still in sleep currently.
Some people are still covered. I was telling Chantal when I got here, and I was telling her, you know what, early morning rain is a trap, because you can easily miss an appointment or get to work late, because there is a way it soothes you and the covers are now warmer, and before you know it, you're late for work. But please take care and take caution, because your boss doesn't want to know that it rained, whether you have a car or not. I remember when Robert Kavshenga was still the CEO at Vision Group, he used to say, I don't know if it rained, me, I'm in office, so where are you? And I used to find that very hilarious, because as in, if the CEO is in office, what excuse are you going to use? Good. Well, he drives, but still. Good morning, Robert.
Well, you're talking about the cold weather. Good morning, our viewers, but I want to start with a piece of advice. We are in a cold weather, but the only safest way for you to go through this cold weather, please, let's use coffee.
Yeah.
Let's use coffee, and Ugandan coffee. To keep yourself warm, please resort to coffee. Usually I don't have a coffee drinking culture because of our environment, but now, and I mean weather, but now that it is cold, let's do a lot of coffee. Yesterday I was at a certain workshop, and then they told us, let's go for coffee break. But what amused me was, there wasn't any coffee. So they came back, I told them, but you people, so you go for coffee break and we don't take coffee, we are taking tea, milk tea. And I said, let's not only call it a figure of speech, yet Uganda with pride in growing a lot of coffee. So avoid saying, let me go to bed, let me have some wolf keeping warm. Please, the best, safest, non-stressing is a cup of coffee.
And by the way, if you're struggling to keep awake, coffee is your friend. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I am very well. Like you said, chilly morning, and I am looking forward to the later hours of the day when it gets a little warmer. So, yeah, but I'm very well. I'm hoping that the viewer is also doing well. Thank you for waking up with us. It's Good Morning Uganda on UBC Television, and welcome to the show.
Mentioned something about waking up early during cold times, and I think this is where we have differences between most of the successful men normally say that you always have to risk to make it. And for those who are still sleeping currently in their duvets, or let's say getting some cuddles at this particular time of the morning,
let's not
I
cross
think
to those areas.
some of them are not really ready to attack the day as much as such, because we also have people who don't drive, and others who ride, or others who use public transport, and they're already in their workspaces.
And
so
also,
I think rain shouldn't be a very huge excuse.
It
Though
shouldn't.
I hear
It
it's a reasonable excuse in Uganda currently.
It is a weak excuse, and employers hate it. If you speak to many employers, they say every time you train, someone is going to call in sick, someone is going to say they couldn't come to work. And I understand that our transport system may not be as favorable as, let's say, in the Western world, but still, if you know you have to be at work, unless it is raining cats and dogs, you have to find a way, because now that we know it might rain between now and December, how many times are you going to miss work? And of course, someone may say you're speaking from privilege, but I've also been someone that has been going to work for so many years now, over a decade, and through that decade, most of the time I didn't even drive. But also there is something about people who drive. They wait for the rain to stop and then hit the road, and before you know it, later on when we are giving you traffic updates, I'm sure that majority of the routes we will be looking at are going to have deep red lines of traffic jam, because everyone is going to be on the road at the same time. I don't know why that's our culture as Ugandans when it comes to rain and driving. But anyway, this is a beautiful morning, and it is a Wednesday. This is the time when we crush on women. Now, I am a lady, and there is another lady on the team, so I would like to go to her and find out, who are we crushing on this morning?
Well, this very morning, I am just here to crush on the ladies that are independent but understand the concept of vulnerability.
Yes. Femininity.
Yes. You don't have to be masculine for you to be independent. No. And if you are someone that knows how to strike the balance, if you're someone that knows how to handle that, I am crushing on you this morning. And
I believe that the gentlemen on the team will agree with us. A lady that can have her own, hold her own, and still be able to be vulnerable,
feminine, yes.
Ask for help, be decent, be respectful, is a good woman. Right, gentlemen?
But the chances are very minimal lately. Finding one who is independent and is submissive, I should say.
Don't use the word submissive.
Let me not use the word submissive, because it will bring issues. But finding one who is having their own money, or independent in a sense, being able to respect the man or the men in society, and giving them that respect. It's very rare currently with this generation.
From today onwards, understand this.
Okay.
A woman is like a computer. Garbage in, garbage out. You ask her a stupid question, she'll give you a stupid answer.
All right.
So she reciprocates what you give her. So if you give her disrespect, she'll multiply and give you that.
I saw this coming.
What did you see coming, Robert?
I saw this coming. As the old man of the crowd, I saw this coming, and I will not dare go into that danger zone.
All right.
But I'm simply going to crush on women that are nursery teachers, or pre-primary, or daycare takers. In this day and age, you save us so much. And they put in a lot of effort. You take some of, because of the way the world is taking us, someone by 2 years, you're taking a child there to make ends meet. And
that's true.
They take care of this child. 3 years, they're eating pre-primary. And they make sure they learn how to read, how to write, and little are they recognized. We talk of professors, we talk of our secondary teachers, primary teachers, but the nursery teachers. And you do a lot of work. Kudos to you. Keep it up. That love that they show, your people I choose to crush on. And why I say ladies, because I've not come across an nursery teacher who is a man.
Majority
who is a
are
male.
ladies,
Speaking of
that's
which,
true.
yes.
It is,
I don't know why.
No, it's actually understandable because mothers or ladies are naturally nurturing.
Yes.
So it's very easy. They have the patience to handle those toddlers or, you know, the kids between the ages of 2 and 5 because they are quite a handful. So yes, like Chirabo said, my honor and respect goes out to you because what you do, I can't do it, and I'm a lady, I'm a mother, so respect goes out to you. We are crushing on you this morning. Now, here we normally have different discussions. We are going to get into the local news in a bit. But yesterday something happened. Members of parliament from the opposition walked out of a plenary session. And of course, most of these members of parliament were from the National Unity Platform Party. They walked out of plenary saying that they are contesting the alleged arrest, detention and torture of their leaders. And of course, this comes after Joel Sonyonyi, the spokesperson for National Unity Platform, and David Louis Rubongoya were arrested on Independence Day. And of course, up until now, the reason for their arrest is still unknown. So I would like to ask just Chirabo before we get into the news. This habit of members of parliament walking out of plenary, should we respect it? Should we say that what they did was good? It was, what is the thing we say when people do something all together? That it is solidarity, or we should call it misbehavior?
Well, there is one thing I learned, that it's useless to wave to a blind man. You know, you're moving in the village, for us who grew up, and you'd simply wave at someone. You don't say much. Kajambo, or you do. Now, if it's a blind person, and I'm not, please don't take an offense, and instead of speaking to them if they can hear, you choose to wave. So members of the opposition have continuously waved to a blind man. That is what I can say.
Who is the blind man?
Well,
sorry,
the
blind
minority,
man in
your
this
movie,
case.
they will continue boycotting.
Also, even if you leave,
Yes.
a plenary will continue because you're the minority.
Right from Tojikwatako or whatever they have been, but what has it changed? So you can't continuously wave to a blind person. You must find something better. You know, these political, they are good because you're talking about it now. But if we desire the change, what they say, I think they have to up their game and get more serious.
Okay. Anyway, this is the moment where we bring you the local news, and later on Chantal will be giving us the international stories, and we will have a press review by Joram Paul Sonko.
Well, we'll begin with President Yoweri Museveni, who met a delegation from the East African community, and he praised these people for ensuring that they have enabled the East African community to continue. These were members from the Secretariat, led by General Honorable Dr. Peter Makithi at State House Entebbe. During the meeting, the President lauded fallen Pan-Africans such as Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, former President of Tanzania, and the late Kwame Nkrumah, former President of Ghana, for fostering the formation and growth of the East African community. He noted that it was because of the commitment of the Pan-African heroes that the dream for the East African community was realized. The leader of the delegation thanked President Museveni for his immense contribution towards the continuous growth and expansion of the East African community. The East African region, East Africa is a regional integrational organization of 7 partner states that include the Republic of Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, Republic of Kenya, Republic of Rwanda, Republic of South Sudan, the Republic of Uganda, and the United Republic of Tanzania, with its headquarters in Arusha, Tanzania. The meeting was also attended by the First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, the Minister of State for Defense, Honorable Jacob both among other officials.
In more news, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is entangled in a web of uncertainty as it addresses the alleged disappearance of National Unity Platform members, a revelation made by the chairperson, Mariam Wangadia. The dilemma follows a report carried out by the Uganda Human Rights Commission on the alleged torture and detention of National Unity Platform members. Wangadia was reading a report to journalists in Kampala following a call by the NUP Secretary General to carry out investigations.
And moving on, the de facto leadership of Forum for Democratic Change Party that sits at Katonga has castigated and denounced the newly elected party leadership on Friday last week at Rugogo as illegal. Speaking at a media briefing at Katonga Road, Plot 6, the de facto spokesperson of FDC, party Ibrahim Semujung, and described the electoral process of the newly elected leadership as being contravening of the party constitution. Semujung revealed that they will maintain the fight to challenge last week's court ruling of Justice Sekana that ruled out the petition of the de facto group challenging the legality of the Najana Nkumbi faction.
The International War Crimes Division Court has set 17th October 2023 to kickstart with the hearing of the case in which former Guantanamo Bay prisoner Jamal Chiemba is accused of supporting and belonging to a terrorist group, ADF. Meanwhile, the same court has set 24th October 2023 for prosecution to present a plea bargaining report to court on what transpired between prosecution and 7 accused persons who are facing charges of aiding, abetting, financing, and rendering support to ADF, a terrorist group.
Also internationally, we take a look at what is happening now. Going straight to Israel, the death toll from the conflict between Israel and Hamas rose to more than 1,400 as of yesterday, including more than 800 people killed in Israel and 687 in Gaza. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other Canadian authorities on Monday condemned demonstrations across Canada by those they said were glorifying violence by supporting Palestinian Islamist group Hamas attack on Israel. A senior Hamas official on Monday said only a small number of top commanders inside Gaza knew about the wide-ranging incursion launched into Israel, but that allies like Iran and Lebanese will join the battle if Gaza is subjected to a war of annihilation. And also the letter, this is the European Union warns Musk's X, that is the X app, spreading illegal disinfo after Hamas attack. Now, the letter said concerns had heightened after the Hamas attack against Israel and demanded Musk respond to the complaint within 24 hours and contact relevant law enforcement authorities. As the European Union's Commissioner for Industry and Digital Economy, Breton is charged with regulating internet giants that trade within the bloc and can launch legal action. Following the terrorist attacks carried out by Hamas against Israel, we have indications that your platform is being used to disseminate illegal content and disinformation in European Union, Breton wrote. Now, Breton reminded Musk that European Union laws set tough rules on moderating content, especially when it comes to violent and terrorist content that appears to circulate on your platform. He asked the X to respond to his complaint within 24 hours and also get in touch with Europol, the European Union Police Coordinating Agency. And moving on, a man who goes by the name Dr. Matthew Lani on TikTok has been accused by health authorities in South Africa of impersonating a medical doctor. Mark these words, the bogus doctor, reported to be in his 20s, appears on the app wearing scrubs in a public hospital, giving medical advice to TikTokers. Lani managed to weave his way into the system, pretending to be in the employ of Helen Joseph Hospital, where he moved around Gauteng province's health department, has said in a statement. It has opened up a criminal case against the man, saying it is a criminal offense to practice when not registered with the Health Professions Council of South Africa. He had assumed various pseudo-medical roles, falsely presenting himself as an employee of the department, the statement said. The name that he alleged to be his real identity, Dr. Sanel Zingelwa, actually belonged to a second-year medical intern at a local hospital, the health department said. Now, crossing over to matters climate risks can be complex to deal with because they don't respect country borders. Hazards in one region can have negative repercussions in another. These are known as transboundary climate risks, and they are a growing concern. They require coordinated multinational responses, which can be a challenge given the different priorities and capabilities of each country. The transboundary climate risk could be due to a shared ecosystem, such as a river basin. For instance, the Nile River, which flows through 11 countries, can experience variations in water availability due to changes in the weather. This will affect the millions who depend on it. Transboundary climate risks can also cross continents and oceans and spawn crises on the other side of the world. These could range from food and water shortages to threats to trade and energy, widening inequalities, forced migrations, and even geopolitical conflicts. That is it for climate news and also what is happening on the international scene.
Thank you so much, Chantal, for that report. Now, Joram Paul-Sonko takes us through the press review.
Well, the front pages of the New Vision and the Daily Monitor. The New Vision highlights government should enable beneficiaries get jobs as MPs have okayed 13 billion shillings for students. That is according to for students loan scheme. That is according to what the New Vision is showing this morning at the front pages. And besides that, in the business environment, how businessmen grabbed 178 acres of Mabira forest. You can read more about the same with the New Vision today. And then furthermore, in the health perspective, controversy erupts over giving 15-year-old girls contraceptives. You can read more about the same report by the New Vision today. And then the untold distress of children of prisoners on death row. You will definitely see a pictorial of those particular children as they are having their say in regards to the conditions they are living under or studying under. More of the same with the New Vision. Then furthermore, missing NUP members, what UHRC found out. More of the same with the New Vision today. Now furthermore, in the Middle East, history of Israel and Palestinian conflict. You can read more about the same in the New Vision. Now the Daily Monitor today as well is highlighting killer prostate cancer crisis. And then the figures here, 2,000 prostate cancer patients found in Uganda. That was in 2020. And 85% of 100 men with prostate cancer, 80% have no symptoms. 15% have and will need care or will seek care. Then 90% is the percentage of patients diagnosed very late with advanced prostate cancer. So you can read more about the same with the Daily Monitor. And then besides that, MPs reject birth control plans for young girls. Why is that so? You can read more of the same in the Daily Monitor today. As in the perspective of the homes, rethinking home design for modern times. More of that in the Daily Monitor. Now later on in the show, we shall be looking at other newspapers across the region to see what is making headlines at their front pages.
Well, since it is Women Crush Wednesday, we will leave you with a song by Zoe Wiz, and it is called Control. It is still Good Morning Uganda. We will be right back. And like Sonko said, give us a highlight from the press review. MPs reject birth control for young girls. Why is this? We will be coming back with that conversation.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning.
It is a cold Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm hoping that this morning's showers have not disorganized your Wednesday morning. You see, it has been raining since I think around 4 in the morning. And of course, for people like you and I who wake up pretty early, it can be disorganizing and disturbing when it rains that early in the morning. But I am hoping that you've been able to get to work, or that you are in the midst of going to work without many a challenge. Now, if you're still at home, please carry a jacket, carry a raincoat. If you're a lady, you could also carry a scarf. Keep yourself warm, because we don't know, it could rain again sometime later in the day, and of course we need you healthy. If you expose your It is a cold Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm hoping that this morning's showers have not disorganized your Wednesday morning. You see, it has been raining since I think around 4 in the morning. And of course, for people like you and I who wake up pretty early, it can be disorganizing and disturbing when it rains that early in the morning. But I am hoping that you've been able to get to work, or that you are in the midst of going to work without many a challenge. Now, if you're still at home, please carry a jacket, carry a raincoat. If you're a lady, you could also carry a scarf. Keep yourself warm, because we don't know, it could rain again sometime later in the day, and of course we need you healthy. If you expose your It is a cold Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm hoping that this morning's showers have not disorganized your Wednesday morning. You see, it has been raining since I think around 4 in the morning. And of course, for people like you and I who wake up pretty early, it can be disorganizing and disturbing when it rains that early in the morning. But I am hoping that you've been able to get to work, or that you are in the midst of going to work without many a challenge. Now, if you're still at home, please carry a jacket, carry a raincoat. If you're a lady, you could also carry a scarf. Keep yourself warm, because we don't know, it could rain again sometime later in the day, and of course we need you healthy. If you expose your It is a cold Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm hoping that this morning's showers have not disorganized your Wednesday morning. You see, it has been raining since I think around 4 in the morning. And of course, for people like you and I who wake up pretty early, it can be disorganizing and disturbing when it rains that early in the morning. But I am hoping that you've been able to get to work, or that you are in the midst of going to work without many a challenge. Now, if you're still at home, please carry a jacket, carry a raincoat. If you're a lady, you could also carry a scarf. Keep yourself warm, because we don't know, it could rain again sometime later in the day, and of course we need you healthy. If you expose your It is a cold Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm hoping that this morning's showers have not disorganized your Wednesday morning. You see, it has been raining since I think around 4 in the morning. And of course, for people like you and I who wake up pretty early, it can be disorganizing and disturbing when it rains that early in the morning. But I am hoping that you've been able to get to work, or that you are in the midst of going to work without many a challenge. Now, if you're still at home, please carry a jacket, carry a raincoat. If you're a lady, you could also carry a scarf. Keep yourself warm, because we don't know, it could rain again sometime later in the day, and of course we need you healthy. If you expose your It is a cold Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm hoping that this morning's showers have not disorganized your Wednesday morning. You see, it has been raining since I think around 4 in the morning. And of course, for people... Well, thank you so much for keeping it UBC, and good morning, Uganda. Again, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am here with I beg your pardon, I'm here with Jerome Paul Sonko and Chantal Olive Akandinda. Now, are you a parent, or even a guardian, or even a big brother or sister? Do you have a teenager in your home? And what would you say about government's proposition, actually government's clearance of contraceptives for girls between the ages of 15 onwards? Well, yesterday, Parliament was against that proposal, that clearance, saying that it is wrong and it is more of legalizing sexual violence against girls. And these are comments that were made by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa. He said that we cannot allow girls to use contraceptives as early as that. This is what he said, that he said that government should not approve the policy of allowing girls from the ages of 15 years to access contraceptive services. And he said that this is wrong. And of course, when he said this, he was applauded by a Muru District Woman Member of Parliament, Lucy Akelo, who also demanded an explanation on the same. But what does the Health Ministry say? Dr. Charles Olaro, the Director for Curative Services at the Health Ministry, said that government is allowing girls as young as 15 years to access contraceptive services, a policy he argued will reduce early pregnancies. According to Dr. Laro, he says that the priority will be out-of-school teenagers and young adults. But still, members of Parliament were not in agreement, saying that contraceptives are a no-go for a girl that is 15 years and below 18. So this is why we are here, and would like for you to join this conversation and share your views regarding government's clearance of contraceptives for young girls that are between the ages of 15 and onwards. And of course, I will go back to the team. And being a lady, I'll start with the lady here, because some of these things hit right home when it comes to our gender. Not that men don't have a view in this. This is why we have Jerome Paul Sonko here, and he will tell us his side. But Chantal, what do you think, in your own opinion, as a lady? You've been a young woman before. Would you say that contraceptives for girls between the ages of 15 are a way to go?
I come bearing bad news, and the bad news I come bearing, I'm here to tell you that these girls are already using these contraceptives. These girls are already aborting. These girls are already sexually active. So if we are to assess the dangers of all the aspects that are involved when you talk about contraceptives. You're talking about sex education, you're talking about you are talking about reproductive health and all those things. So it's best we sit down and break through this whole aspect and find the best way possible. And the best way possible may not be the most welcome, especially to society, but it's the only solution that we would have come up with. So in this case, I would say let's not make it normal.
What do you mean?
You know how it's normal for you to drink water? You are supposed to drink water.
Yes.
Yeah? Let's not make it a supposed or a must do. Yeah? But then again, you can't deny access to contraceptives when it comes to these kids, because they are sexually active. Actually, Sub-Region is saying, please allow, because for us, our girls are grappling with teenage pregnancy. The region is grappling with teenage pregnancy, so allow us, clear us to use contraceptives when it comes to these kids so that we control these teenage pregnancies. Of course, that takes us back down to maybe there is a bit of failure in terms of family and controls. We haven't maybe gone down to figure out why do we have a high number or an increasing number of teenage pregnancies in these areas especially. Maybe that's why we should be putting our concern. But then again, the truth is, whether it's been known or not, these contraceptives have been in use for years. And back then, this was around between 2011 and, and is it upwards or downwards? One of the two. Parents were actually taking their girls and giving them these 3-month injections and putting whatever they put in their bodies because they didn't want the embarrassment of these kids bringing pregnancies back home. So they've been doing these things, but low-key. And now that we're having this conversation, I believe we just need to go first. The first line, I would say, let's go back down to the reasons as to why we are experiencing an increasing number of teenage pregnancies. Let's see if we can mitigate those reasons. Then after that, we can now consider contraceptives, because we all do know, you're a lady, contraceptives have the other side of the negative effects they have on our bodies as ladies.
Especially if started at a very young age.
Yes.
Now, speaking of the Acholi sub-region, there is a report that was released in 2019, and it showed that 45% of deliveries from health facilities were by teenagers.
Right.
Who had dropped out of school. Now, when the Ministry of Health official was talking about the contraceptives, he said their main target are out of school young women or minors, girls, because I even don't like to call them young women, because a 15-year-old is not a woman.
Yeah, that's a child.
But isn't he coming from somewhere where, when he says we are targeting out of school teenagers? Because in as much as I am out of school, a girl is out of school at 15, it doesn't mean that she should become a mom, because her future could turn around. So Sonko, when Mr. Olar said we are targeting out of school teenagers, and there is this report saying that 45% of teenage deliveries were of teenagers, wouldn't you say that the Ministry of Health is onto the right track?
Well, it is, but when I looked at this,
I realized that the legislators are being gatekeepers of such a situation. Why do I say so? Is because however much may look at it in a way that they may be trying to be proactive and avoid overreacting after situations happen, but if you're targeting only teenagers that are in school that you're trying to protect, and then let's say you're saying if the contraceptives are given to teenagers out of school, yet we want everyone to be in school, then you're becoming segregative in a way, or you're ideally showing society that there is a region of important girls, because I want to believe teenagers are already, teenage, the female teenagers are girls. So it's like you're having a secret way of uplifting the girl child who's in school,
and then abandoning
one who is not in school. And yet we all know there are reasons as to why they are not in school, one of which is even that particular pregnancy. Because if that same child gets pregnant while at school, they're definitely going to go on the street. So that means, again, it's like you're not even covering up any solution. But then at the end of it all, we need to be very honest with ourselves. I think most of the reason as to why the legislators are rejecting these birth control methods is because, or these contraceptives, is because they do not want to have active users. But again, why are they targeting girls yet at that young age? Boys already know how to even use them. So which clearly shows you that their main focus is on the girl child, but we are forgetting that also the boy child needs to be in such conversations. And contraceptives, to me, needs to be a serious conversation right from school. Their side effects, why they are necessary, because grooming someone right from childhood and they are exposed to certain things, it will save you a lot as they grow up. Because during the teenage, this is where parents become more reactionary after a child has actually messed up. A child has actually got pregnant, because believe me, first and foremost, most of the parents out there will first judge their daughters for getting pregnant in most of the households.
Without looking at the root cause.
The root cause of everything. And then to the boy child, at times, they are also a bit criticized, not so much as the girl child though. So, which shows you how much we as a society in Uganda are more reactionary. So, I think if we are to allow, like, for me, I will actually say we really need to have these conversations right from schools. And we really need to, maybe, let's say, as early as senior one, that is high school, because adolescence is already now hitting all these teenagers.
Just a second. It is said, it is reported that girls become sexually active as early as 12 years old. And at 12, most of these girls are still even in primary school. So if we are to have a conversation about girls, if we are to have sex education, I think we may have to go a little lower in age, because according to the Ministry of Health, 25% of Ugandan teenagers become pregnant by the age of 19, and close to half are married before their 18th birthday and continue having babies into their mid-40s. So this is how you find a 25-year-old woman with 6 children, because they started early. But we know that pregnancy on a young body of, let's say, a 13-year-old is really not healthy for them. So when we speak about sex education, wouldn't you rather we, like you said, we take it in schools, but we take the age lower?
It is already in school. Primary 6 P7 old curriculum, sex education was there, but it was just a basic sex education. You're only learning a few things, and it is, in most cases, teachers don't even want to say the right things. They will only tell you more about the reproduction or reproductive system of a human body. I think that is where primary 6, and in most cases, teachers even feel offended if a child happens to, mention something sexual during such during such topics. So right from primary, most of the teachers do not want to always bring up these sexual conversations to some of these children. And why I did mention senior 1 or form 1 is because now with this kind of generation, most of the girls or even the boys, 12 years is when most of them are now getting into, because of the fact that parents started taking them to school quite earlier. So at 12 years, some of them are completing primary 7. So 13, they're moving into form 1 or senior 1. So why I chose secondary, it is because there's a lot of huge exposure while in secondary school. But then I don't even have to, I don't want to, limit the idea that there are women or there are girls who are sexually active as early as 12 years, like you've mentioned, or their adolescent stage hits quite earlier than the rest, because you'll find out others actually start experiencing, let's say, menstruation still in P6, P5, or P7. So this is when you get to realize that as parents, or even the society, we need to have these girls getting to know of how to control pregnancies, how to deal with you know, the sexual urge that comes with this particular age, because believe it or not, there are changes of the body that come, and if you do not have conversations with your children, at times you will leave the society for them.
So
the truth is, we have demonized sex. And growing up, all of you will agree with me that at a particular point, if anyone mentioned the word sex, this kid would have to run away, this kid would have to hide, and it was demonized in such a way that it is, okay, yes, it's supposed to be done in privacy, but done in hiding, or when it comes to society, it's as if it's not acceptable, but it's acceptable, if you know what I'm saying. And now that's the first problem that we have. Now, after demonizing it, you make the conversation hard. You get it? For someone to, yes, to come out openly. Those who have gone through marriage counseling or who have been to these different churches, you will agree with me that even when you go to some churches, the way they talk about sex is different. They don't give you the reality of it. You know, there is a veil that is between us and the conversations about sex and sex education. Now that's the first challenge that we have. How is this teacher going to gain the confidence to come and have this conversation and even structure a very good conversation? And I'm putting it like this: structuring a conversation that you know can only suit a P6 student, different from a conversation you'd have with a senior 4 student and a senior 6 student. Now, that is where we have the problem. We don't have the confidence to come out and have bold conversations that are supposed to suit a particular age bracket for us to be able to hit the problem from the root, from the foundation. Yes. The problem is not the pregnancies. The problem is that in the background we have failed on certain things. And it's really sad that we are now resorting to a method that is detrimental to our health. You know, just one of the effects of using contraceptives is that you could end up getting uterine cancer. It affects fertility, among other things that we could talk about that are effects of using birth control. So what am I trying to say? We need to first go back to the reasons as to why we have these teenage pregnancies. First try and handle. You can't tell me that as communities, as government, as families and parents, we have failed on those things for us to be able to resort to methods that are going to be detrimental to our kids' health.
Well, we are asking you to share your opinions and, of course, your take on the clearance of birth control use for teenagers. What is your take on the clearance of birth control use for teenagers? You can share your views through WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. And if you are on the X app, the hashtag is UBCGMU. Please do not call, just text. I will read your text. Also, please leave your name on your comment. It helps us to know who we are dealing with. And the question again we are asking today is for you to share your take on the clearance of birth control use for teenagers, because government recently cleared the usage of birth control by girls between the ages of 15 onwards. Is this a good move? Should we embrace it, or it is something that is going to put us in a negative light as a country? Are we ruining the lives of these teenagers by introducing them to birth control or giving them free access to birth control? Or this is a step in the right direction? So we'd like to hear from you. Feel free to share your opinions with us, because we are building Uganda. Now, I'd like to go back to Chantal for a minute here. When you say that, okay, you've mentioned some of the effects of birth control usage for girls that are of a certain age, but we already have a problem, okay? In as much as we want to be politically correct, okay, and say that we need to go back to the root cause, we need to do, yes, that would help the girls that are still very young, maybe 8 or 9 or 10. But we already have teenagers that are actively engaging in sexual activities. In Acholi sub-region alone, during the lockdown, 17,000 girls got pregnant. Reports say, statistics show that 1 in every 4 girls in Uganda is pregnant, has become pregnant, or has had a child by their 18th birthday. So looking at such numbers, I come back to you and say, okay, there could be some effects regarding contraceptive usage, but is clearance of them for the girls to use, especially given that now we know that 1 in 4 of them has had a child, meaning they have been sexually active. Is it so bad?
Let me put it like this. You are literally saying, if you're clearing the contraceptives, you are saying it is acceptable for these girls who are 15 years or even below to go ahead and engage in sexual activities that are going to make them pregnant.
No, I'm saying if the girls are already sexually active, okay, we could engage in sexual education, talk to them, but isn't it also fine to have options of, you can talk to a teenager and tell them sex at this age is bad for you. Most of them have had this. Right, Sonko?
Very true.
You've been in class and you've had teachers say boys are bad for you. Actually, like you said in the beginning, you said we demonize sex. Yes. But now that they know already that sex is bad for them, they even know the consequences. There is disease, there is pregnancy, but they go ahead to engage in it. Someone out there would wonder, isn't it okay to have an option of safety, an option of not getting pregnant, rather than just saying sex is bad for you, this is what is going to happen, even if research has shown it has not helped?
What I'm trying to say here, sorry Sonko, just what I'm trying to say here is, it shouldn't be the primary that we front. We are not ruling it out, because like I said at some point, girls are already sexually active out there. But like I said, have we gone back to the drawing board to find out the causes of these teenage pregnancies, to find out why these kids are going ahead to be sexually active? You'll realize that according to reports that are out there, the different NGOs that are doing research on this, they will tell you the major reasons as to why we have these teenage pregnancies. 1, violence, sexual violence. These girls are raped, they are defiled. That is 1. 2, talk about lack of information. Okay, say these kids are sexually active. Do they know how to use the condoms? Why are we fronting contraceptives instead of condoms?
But condoms are also a form of contraception.
True.
They are.
You know, the worry is...
They're a form of birth control, not contraception.
Birth control is contraception.
But they can control. You see, the issue is...
Okay, you play on words,
Okay.
but still they are used to stop pregnancy and disease,
But
right?
the contraception we are talking about right now is
for the girls.
The pills and stuff like
Because
that.
the boys don't have the pills.
No, even the condoms themselves come with their own issues as well, come with their own side effects. I will stand with Chantal.
Oh, wow. No, Sonko, no.
I'm coming. I will stand with Chantal at a 50% and then object at another 50. Why? Rather oppose at the other 50. The other 50% is, the issue here is, we may look at contraceptives as a way of trying to prevent, which I will stand with, because you're trying to prevent these young girls from getting used or getting their bodies weakened by the use of these contraceptives, of which condoms are not even so actively used by the girl child, by the way. However much we have the female female condoms. So which means the contraceptives conversations here that will definitely dominate the entire discussion will be things like pills, which you wouldn't wish a young girl aged 12 to have more knowledge about using them, because they will be forced to always, you know, have it as a plan B in case of anything that happens.
It will be plan
So
A,
in most cases, the condoms come in as a way of controlling, let's say,
Disease,
STDs.
yes.
But when you look at the other options, whereby where people feel uncomfortable using the condoms, they will definitely go in for the others, and they have quite huge implications on the girl child quite at an early age. You see, even most of the women who are mature enough still have complications due to
They'll
the
even
same.
tell you, I don't take pills.
Exactly. So then on the other side of it, there's the 50% where I still now oppose, is some of the lawmakers were actually revealing that this may be a way of supporting defilement cases.
Exactly.
And the issue here is, if you are bringing up contraceptives for the girl child or for the teenagers, it is not it's not legalizing defilement, simply because the defilement comes in context when the bigger player is quite older than the young one.
But some of these
So the
children
bigger
are
player-
having sex with their mates, age mates.
Yeah. So now the bigger player in this picture is one who even knows how to use these contraceptives. So the defilement has always been there, whether we have the contraceptives or not. So we really need to tackle defilement in a different kind of way. Now, when we look at the contraceptives issue, I think, like you did mention, we should stop demonizing the idea that sex, the entire narrative that sex is demonic or bad. So we need to have it that it is bad at a certain stage in life, whereby if you're not into, let's say, actively in marriage, then you should not be going into these sexual activities at a young age, because of what will happen and where it will leave you psychologically and everything.
When you say actively married, yet we know that is going to be a really a sticky road for you to walk,
No,
because
it depends
even
on
the
the marriage
children you're
setting.
telling that actively married, which is the right message, by the way, I don't disagree. But the children you're telling, if you're not actively married, you should not engage. Know that even you, the parent,
Yes.
you're not married.
No,
but
the
you're
issue
giving
is, why I'm saying it
Like-
depends on the kind of marriage. Because in the African setting now, cohabiting looks more like a marriage setting for most of the children. So most of them look at their parents
So shouldn't we go back to the
and then
values?
they feel like maybe they are now married. So if you see your father and mother, in your entire mind, you feel like you're married, they are married. So most of them need to have this conversation that unless you have your partner with you and you've started up and you want to start up a family with them, it is when you should be actively engaging in, this sexual talk or actively.
Shouldn't the main concern, or shouldn't the main message be driven around their health as well? Because you may talk about marriage and probably they're just looking for the thrill of the moment. Shouldn't we maybe now mainly focus on the effects of early sex and the consequences they may have on the body, and have a look at, for instance, what are some of the challenges a girl may experience if they get pregnant at the age of 13 or 15?
Well, aside from, of course, dropping out of school, health-wise.
Health-wise, yes.
One, this child's, I'm calling them a child, this child's body may not be strong enough to carry another human being in them. And when it comes to delivery, you're likely to face things like fistula. Just one small example, during delivery, fistula, and that...
For someone who doesn't understand, what does fistula mean?
Fistula is like the tear that happens when you do a normal birth, like pushing the child, and you literally get torn up to what's the part called, the rectum, I think, and you are unable to control your bowel movements. That means everything moves out voluntarily, if I may say. So that is one of the effects that really disturbs me, because this is a child, 13, 14. That is very traumatizing. And please do know that these things happen even to older people. So imagine a child at that particular point.
And of course, when you have fistula, it should be noted that now you cannot keep in urine.
That's what I'm saying.
And you
Your bowel
cannot keep
movements
in your bowel
happen
movement
voluntarily.
Exactly. And now you will be excluded from society, and you're just a child. But what are the other effects?
The other effects could you could get challenges with your back as well, because at some point your back may not be strong enough to carry that child. Even during pushing, for those that have pushed, they will tell you you can almost lose your back. So if your back is not strong enough, and those kids, because they're still young, the backs are not strong enough to carry this, what? To carry another child or to push out another child. Now, also imagine a child that goes through C-section, yeah, at a very young age. Just the healing process. Talk about the postpartum depression itself. So we're talking about mental health. We're talking about emotional health, especially if this child is being excluded and stigmatized in the society. We are talking about physical, emotional, psychological health. Yeah, and at the end of the day, with all those things affecting that child, how do you expect this kid to grow up?
So now one would ask, we have, you guys seem resolute on contraceptives are important, but then the children should not have them, but then the children should have them. So the question here is, what are we supposed to do as a society, starting from home as parents and as government, to ensure that girls, do not even engage in sexual activities at a young age?
Let me first take you back. When you were around, say, 17 or 16, if you dared to ask your aunt or your parent or guardian, what is sex? What would they do to you? What would they do to you?
Oh, how do you even?
Thank you very much.
Who taught you those things?
Where did you get it from? You're getting spoiled. You get.
Yes.
Now, that is what I was talking about. After demonizing it like that, this kid will have questions. But they can't come to you. If a boy touched her, how is she going to start? Because you're going to start blaming her for being reckless with herself. You're going to start putting her in a place where she's uncomfortable to tell you that something like that happened to her. You could have controlled the pregnancy. Maybe she was raped or defiled, but you would be like, Kambala Bubi, that's why she's like that, for guardians, for example.
How did you look at him?
Thank you.
Some girls have these beautiful eyes, and they have even been dubbed come to bed eyes. And someone is like, Auntie, how with her eyes?
Thank you. So, because these kids cannot even have that kind of conversation with an elderly person to help them control the pregnancy, that is where we have all these things happening.
Urges.
Yes, the urges and everything like that. How did some people survive to grow up to a point of getting married and they're not getting pregnant? Some abstained, some used, of course, contraceptives, could have been pills, could have been condoms and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if the conversation is not openly had, you are leaving room for kids being inquisitive. But this thing they're stopping me from doing, how is it? Then
remember, the hormones
they go
are
blindly.
raging,
Yes, they go
changes.
blindly. They don't know what they are walking into. If, for example, I personally had a chance, we had a teacher in school. She was really, really resourceful. She would sit you down and she would take you step by step. She would tell you, listen, when you clock this age and you start feeling like this is what your body is going through. However, if you decide to take this route, this is what happens. If you decide to go and get involved with the boys, you get pregnant, you drop out of school, you become a social outcast. She breaks everything down for you. You make the decision by yourself, and trust me, these kids actually know the right thing to do when they are well guided. So let's have the conversation, but let's limit different age brackets. How far can we go with the conversations? We are not saying teach people styles and stuff.
No.
Teach them the information that is supposed to help them protect themselves from, and allow these kids to be bold enough to come and tell you, listen, this boy was winking at me. What does that mean? This boy touched me like this. Why would he do that? We should know that it is disrespectful for a man to objectify this child or a woman. Stuff like that, but those are not conversations we have.
Well, we would like to know your views regarding government's clearance of contraceptives for girls between the ages of 15 onwards. Is this a move in the right direction? You can reach us on WhatsApp number 0709602592. I have a few comments already. This one says, this is Olara David from Kituguma Municipality, and he says, I usually say that this program should begin when the child has been spotted to understand herself for sexual deeds or doing. Basically, he says when a person is of a sound, like, or they've reached an age where they understand what sex means, body changes, this is when contraceptives and talk about contraceptives should be introduced. And Simon from Chidepo National Park says, I have an inquiry regarding contraceptives, not only on teenage girls but females as a whole. What are the implications of using these drugs to all females? We will answer that in a minute. And this one says, involving school-going girls in birth control measures is like you have officially allowed them to have sex. You should as well okay them on abortions. But she put this in, she's being sarcastic. She's like, how can you even talk about contraceptives? It's like you're also okaying abortion. Never mind that abortion is illegal in Uganda. She goes on to say, imagine giving birth control pills to your 13-year-old daughter. What are you trying to tell them to do? And moving on, this one says, I am virtue. My say on this is that it is a dangerous thing to allow these teenagers to have access with clearance to the family planning. It would be important to encourage parents to enhance awareness to their sexually active children. Parents know what happens when a girl child is able to menstruate and the outcome if she gets engaged in sexual behavior. Schools should be secondary in teaching the children about this. Otherwise, we will be promoting HIV, the HIV virus, to spread and other complications that come with it. And Jude says the conversation is very vital. However, he needs to know the side effects of the contraceptives as introduced to teenage girls at an early age, yet it's more challenging to adults. And this one says, honestly, contraceptives are not ideal for these teenagers. We expected them to be in school than in sexual schools. So we know that sex is not the cause of school dropouts. Remember, COVID-19 vaccine affected DNA results. Really? Sex actually can lead to someone dropping out of school. We saw this. Girls during the lockdown were not in school. And because they were idle, by the way, school is one fundamental area that helps girls to not get pregnant at an early stage. Because schools have their rules and regulations. You're not going to stay in school when you are pregnant. So here the message should be, let's keep our girl children in school as much as we can, because it is a deterrent to them when they are in school. Majority of girls that research says that girls that have been of a higher level of education have been able not to get pregnant at an early age as compared to their mates that dropped out of school, maybe due to poverty. So if a girl child is not in school, the chances of her getting pregnant are higher. That's why the numbers of girls that got pregnant during the lockdown were higher, because the girls were not in school. As we close, I would like to hear your parting shots, Mr. Sonko.
Well, my parting shot would be, there is a comment there that I wanted to respond to, but it was relating to, I think someone was asking, how would you give your 13-year-old girl contraceptives? The issue is not us giving, or is not the parents giving these children contraceptives or giving them the access to them, but having conversations about the contraceptives that are available. Why? Because these things are happening, and you may not give them the contraceptives, and while you are away, they are doing things. So the idea is always to tell them more about, you know, what sex is, the implications, first of all.
Equip them with information.
Tell them the side effects. I believe the side effects will scare off someone more. And you tell them the right time. Why I stick to the right time when to have it is because, you know, abstinence is something that we continue to push for in school. Abstain from sex. So if you tell this child that abstain from sex, till this, and then you tell them the reason as why I am telling you to abstain is because of this and this, and they are contraceptives that people normally use during this and this, but trust me, they have implications. For example, now if you were to tell a girl child, maybe if you're getting to sex at an early age, you're going to get pregnant, and once you get pregnant, these are the repercussions you're going to face. And at the end of the day, if you try to use contraceptives, they are also going to have an effect on your body. So you need to have open conversations so that you let them tell you about what they're experiencing, and you can also let them know where the challenges may be or where the side effects may come from, especially around the use of contraceptives per se. But as of now, we should preach really for abstaining and also staying in school.
All right. Thank you so much, Sonko Chantal. In 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Well, just briefly to list briefly down the causes of teenage pregnancies. Lack of information about sexual and reproductive health and rights when it comes to that. Inadequate access to services tailored for young people. Then talk about sexual violence, family, community, and social pressure to marry, then forced marriages or child marriages, and then lack of education or being school dropouts. Those are some of the reasons that could lead to teenage pregnancies. How about we first deal with the foundation before we introduce Panadol for a cancer that is eating us up?
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation, and it continues online on the X app. The hashtag is UBCGMU. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. We'll be right back with the GMU business and traffic updates, and later on agenda and sports updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu. Omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obwivwa eno okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wanu ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira kusani fish farm ebwikwe ni side day dindeyo twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo $40 okuva mu operation werese creation era okuba yongerezaako emmere yatuweebwa okuva Uganda Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako kubimu ku bintu bye tukola gano. Twebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efeeri y'Abannayuganda.
Uncle, you should see London. Oh boy, this has been 5 years. You should see Uganda. Yes. Uncle Marcus, that's my former school.
Soon there will be more than 1 million children learning like this for free.
Thank you, Uganda, for imagining it with us and making us the fastest growing telecom in the country over the past 5 years.
days in the country. Good morning again, and it is time for the GMU Business Update. I hope you are still watching UBC Good Morning Uganda. So Wednesday, and when you look back at what has been happening in the country for the past few months, the business world has been quite active, and the mere fact that inflation dropping also has been very supportive for quite a number of local businesses in the country, though there are also those who are still crying foul due to the high taxes in the country. But of course, resilience is something that you need to push for as a Ugandan. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Now, from the business perspective, and of course, the kickoff of the Uganda UAE Business Forum also started yesterday, so you get to realize that there is a lot more of discussion. I will be giving you more details of that particular one tomorrow, but as of today, let's get back to the drawing board as we start with the Bank of Uganda, which has projected an increase in the rate of loan default. Now, a report by the Bank of Uganda has indicated that the default rates, especially when you look on household loans or individual loans as well, are projected to increase due to the anticipated negative impact of the Anti-Homosexuality Act on funding for non-government organizations, or the NGOs. Now, in the details contained in the bank lending survey report for 2022-2023 for the fourth quarter, the Bank of Uganda said that the outlook on the default rate on loans is biased towards an increase due to job losses that might result from tightening of funding to NGOs by international funders. Now, the default rate is expected to increase, attributed to the recent parliamentary legislation of which may lead to suspension of funding from international organizations for some NGOs, in turn increasing the level of non-performing loans due to job losses. And the Bank of Uganda survey report is highlighting that. The report, which also sought to enhance the central bank's understanding of the lending behavior and loan financing conditions among deposit-taking financial institutions, further noted that apart from the job losses due to suspension of funding of NGOs, delayed payment of contractors by the government, and the adverse impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, which has relatively slowed down the economic recovery and slow recovery from the effects of COVID-19, also continue to present challenges that threaten an increase in non-performing loans. So as a fact checker, you have to be able to at least ideally understand what is definitely going to be coming up next in regards to the fact that external donors or funders have stopped. Some will definitely stop funding these NGOs due to, of course, that particular law, or the Anti-Homosexuality Act, which many of the human rights activists across the world were against. And well, besides that, we did have huge conversations rotating around the fact that loan defaulters are also steadily increasing in the country. But besides that, still with the business update this morning, our main focus now turns to the trade fair closure, or what you could call the Uganda International Trade Fair 2023, which was officially closed yesterday, with over 10 sectors driving Uganda's economy participating in that exhibition. Now, this is an exhibition that normally happens annually in the country, and it does happen at the Uganda Manufacturers Association grounds, or the UMA grounds, that is in Lugogo, where various exhibitors of various SMEs come with their products and services to display to potential clients that are both local and international. While at the exhibition, you also get to realize that not only the SMEs, but also the macro are also part of this conversation. So it's a total lap of MSMEs in the sector or in the country that come through to ideally exhibit or showcase what they have to offer. So it's more like a pinch of what your company produces, or a pinch of your services provided by your company or your institution, in order to attract various clients. And it's obviously one that attracts thousands of not only students but also viable buyers and supporters of a given product or a given company. And that is where you get to realize that also during the closure, the State Minister for Trade, Harriet Ntabazi, promised manufacturing industries that discussions are ongoing to have the cheapest power to spur economic development, because most of the manufacturing companies in the country are saying that the cost of doing business is highly also driven by the fact that the power rates are quite high for most of them, and at times they even fail to pay these particular power costs, or what you would call umeme costs. And it's something that they are definitely still having conversations with the government to have at least their power charges a little less, or maybe also if they get these power charges decreased for them, they should as well be able to decrease on the prices of the commodities that they sell out to the Ugandans. But of course, when you look at the trade fair that ended, it was one that attracted lots of potential buyers as well, who went in for commodities at retail prices, and also students or schools that went and used this as a study tour for the economics and entrepreneurship students, plus commerce students as well. Well, lastly, from our business update this morning, though, we now focus on what is coming in from the forex market as close of business yesterday, Tuesday, 10th of October 2023. The close of business, the US dollar was buying at 3,742.42 shillings, while selling at 3,752.42. It had actually opened at 3,753.46 if you was selling. And then the Great Britain pound buying did close at 4,577.35, while selling was closing at 4,589.58. Then the euro was buying at 3,954.24, while selling at 3,964.80. The Kenyan shilling, on the other hand, buying was closing at 25.13, while selling at 25.20. The Tanzanian shilling buying was at 1.49, while selling at 1.49 shillings as well. The South African rand was buying at 193.63, while selling at 194.15. And now back to the press review to see what the front pages are highlighting this particular fruitful day of Wednesday, 11th of October. The New Vision is having MPs okaying 13 billion Ugandan shillings for students loan scheme, as government should now enable beneficiaries get jobs, according to what the MPs are saying. Now, health controversy erupts over giving 15-year-old girls contraceptives. Similar conversations to what we've been having in our reel this morning. Then in the Middle East, history of Israel-Palestinian conflict. Read more about that particular conflict in the New Vision today. Now, the untold distress of children of prisoners on death row, a pictorial of some of those particular children, is with the New Vision today. Now, reports the missing NUP members, what URHC found out. More of that with the New Vision. Now, moving further to the Daily Monitor this morning, killer of the prostate cancer crisis. Killer prostate cancer crisis. Read more about the prostate cancer, how to overcome it, and how to prevent the same. Also about the treatment in today's Daily Monitor. Now, MPs reject birth control plans for young girls, among the other key stories at the front pages of the Daily Monitor today. Crossing the borders to Kenya, the Daily Nation. Moi's last days, book serialization. You can read more about the former president of Kenya, that is Daniel Arap Moi. More of the same in the Daily Nation. Now, also how President Ruto visit exposed soft underbelly of ODM rebels. Read more of the same in the Daily Nation. Then First Lady in push for national dress. That is in Kenya. Why is that so? You can read more of the same. Now, the permanent secretary in Kenya says, we have accounted for Kenyans in Israel. More of the same in the Daily Nation. Now, weather, in the weather perspective, give us El Nino cash in time, as the governors are urging the Kenyan government. Lastly, from the press review is the Citizen from Tanzania. Dar es Salaam's growth pushes up per capita income. More of the same in the Citizen. Now, lawyers call for abolition of capital punishment as the East African Community budget finally sailed through. Revealed also today in the Citizen how material disorders are ravaging youth in Tanzania. Well, that is it for the GMU Business Update and the press review this particular morning here on Good Morning Uganda. Now it is time for the traffic updates with Olive Monica Najuma.
Good morning, Sonko. You're looking bright and shiny this morning.
Thank you very much. You know, it's
so the weather has nothing on you.
Thank you very much.
Let's see whether the weather has something on people that are on the road this morning. Good morning. My name is Olive Monica Nejama, and this is the time when we give you traffic updates. So if you're coming from the areas of Nakawa, and that is along the Jinja Kampala Highway, we are going to pick it up from there and see how you can get, how best you can get to the heart of town. Because yes, most of you are either going to buy merchandise or are reporting for work, but also some of you are traveling that side of town. Probably your offices are that side of town. So we are going to look at these traffic routes and see how best you can maneuver, because sometimes when it rains the roads are really congested, but other times the roads can actually be free as well. So now looking at the area around Chambogo, there seems to be smooth flow of traffic in this area. So if you're coming from the areas of Weogere, Chireka, and surrounding areas around Chambogo, you won't find traffic jam. There is a little bit of a build-up around Banda, the section which brings Chambogo Road to join the main Jinja Highway. But it's not too much traffic. It is just a build up there as the roads join the main Jinja Kampala Highway. Now moving forward, going heading to Nakawa, yes, I see orange zones on both sides of the road, which indicates that the traffic is starting to build up around this area. And as you approach the section that is around Nakawa, where the road that goes to Chinawataka, and of course the road that comes from Stretcher Road in Intinda, you will encounter a bit of traffic there. But actually this morning it looks good compared to other times, especially when it rains. And after that there is smooth flow of traffic around there until you reach Kagate tax stage, that is in Nakawa. Now around here you're going to find traffic that is coming through from Katalima Road. As you can see there is a traffic jam on both ends of the road around Kagate taxi stage. And as you continue still along the Kampala Jinja Highway around the traffic lights, here there is a deep red zone of traffic jam. So if you're coming from Nakawa or Weogere or Chireka and surrounding areas around this place, you're going to find traffic jam. Now when we look at areas of Newport Bay Road, that is the road that comes in from Luzira joining the main Jinja Road Highway, there is a little bit of traffic build up, especially around Kamwesi hostels coming through to join the main road, but it is not anything to worry about. I believe this orange zone is being created by the traffic that is on the main road around the traffic lights, so you should be able to move in record time. Now going back to the main road around Kampala Jinja Highway, now here in the areas of Chadondo Rugby Grounds opposite the Lugogo Mall, you're going to find a little bit of traffic there, and of course there is some bit of traffic coming through from Lugogo bypass, but nothing to worry about. You should be able to move in record time. Now going still again by the main Jinja Road Highway, there seems to be only green zones around this place. Even the feeder road that comes in from Archer Road looks quite clear, so you should be able to move. And when I look at other roads around the area, like First Street, it is clear. Second Street is very clear. So today you're in luck. You should be able to move quite fast and you won't encounter any delays. Even at the Ginger Road roundabout, the road seems pretty good. Now, I see a bit of a red zone on Wampeo Avenue as you come from the Ginger Road Highway. As you come from Wampeo Avenue trying to join the main Ginger Road roundabout, there is a red zone right there, if you can look at your screen. But it is still something that will cost you just a few minutes and you should be able to move. So if you're going back to the ends of Ginger Road, it is clear. There is a smooth flow of traffic. As you can see, those green lights indicate that there is smooth flow of traffic. Now, going back to the main road after the Ginger Road roundabout and looking at the section that brings you to Nile Avenue and of course takes you to Mukwano Road, the place looks quite clear, so you should be able to move without any worries. But as you go along and along Ginger Road trying to join Kampala Road, you may find bits of traffic here and there, but overall Kampala Road also looks quite smooth this morning, as you can see there on your screen. So it looks like the doom I predicted earlier, that when it rains roads are congested, today I have been put to shame, because the roads look really clear today, and that's a good thing because it means you're not going to lose time on the road. Duster Street has a bit of a hold up there, and the Square 2 also has a bit of a hold up, but still nothing to worry about. You might lose just a few minutes of your time as you're trying to go to wherever you're going. But as of Kampala Road, you are going to encounter a bit of traffic jam as Kampala Road transitions into Bombo Road around Watoto downtown. There, that section has some bit of a red zone, actually a deep red zone. So if that's where you're headed, you might spend a bit of time in that area. There seems to be traffic coming through from feeder roads around that area, like the road coming up from Buganda Road joining Bombo Road. But then after that section, still Bombo Road seems to have clear traffic. But then you will encounter the traffic at Queens Lane, and then as you go along Queens Lane to join Lumumba Avenue, there is smooth flow of traffic. Well, thank you so much for being a part of Good Morning Uganda. That's it that we could get for you in our traffic updates. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. Up next is Agenda with Robert Chirabo.
Of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nibanyita kananye niyita Sezi Nwagaba, commercial officer at Ntungamo District Government.
I am Sezi Nwagaba, the commercial officer for Ntungamo Local Government. I express my gratitude to God for this platform and the Emyuga initiative brought to us by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as it has positively transformed the lives of the people in Ntungamo, whom I have known for a long time. When you visit the beneficiaries of this program, you can easily witness the significant positive changes in their lives. The audit report demonstrates that despite their leader being deaf and blind, profits are being made, highlighting how this program has actively engaged and evolved every individual. Initially, we received 2,650 million Uganda shillings. Each constituency received 530 million Uganda shillings. I would like to express my gratitude to this platform for providing us with the opportunity to share information about the Emyuga program. Our special thanks go to the President for initiating the program, and additionally, I would like to mention that there are numerous similar projects in Rubare and Ntungamo.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obo obwivwa eno okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wanu ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira ku Sani Fish Farm ebwikwe ni side day dindeyo twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo $40 okuva mu operation Werese Creation era okuba yongerezaako emmere yatuweebwa okuva Uganda Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako ku bimu ku bintu bye tukola gano bebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efeeri y'Abannayuganda.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Nibanyita kananye niyita Sezi Nwagaba commercial officer Ntungamo district government.
I am Sezi Nwagaba, the commercial officer for Ntungamo local government. I express my gratitude to God for this platform and the Emyuga initiative brought to us by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as it has positively transformed the lives of the people in Ntungamo, whom I have known for a long time. When you visit the beneficiaries of this program, you can easily witness the significant positive changes in their lives. The audit report demonstrates that despite their leader being deaf and blind, profits are being made, highlighting how this program has actively engaged and evolved every individual. Initially, we received 2,650 million Uganda shillings. Each constituency received 530 million Uganda shillings. I would like to express my gratitude to this platform for providing us with the opportunity to share information about the Emyuga program. Our special thanks go to the President for initiating the program, and additionally, I would like to mention that there are numerous similar projects in Rubare and Ntungamo.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you for keeping with us on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chiravo Nyonyutono. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now this is a segment in this show where we do have a guest or guests and we talk about an issue of national concern. But very importantly, you're also able to participate in this segment by simply going to our various social media platforms. Soon a number will be popping up on your screen where you can only, and I want to emphasize this, you can only send a WhatsApp message or a text. Please, that number is not for calling on. And please leave your name. We want to know who is communicating because the guests will be giving feedback, responding to your concerns, responding to your questions regarding the topic of the day. Once again, welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, this morning, we want to talk matters of health and specifically about malaria. Now, this is a disease that we know kills a lot of Ugandans. One person was telling me malaria is among the top 5 most killers of Ugandans. Most of the time, we are used because people know you have malaria, you go, you get treatment, but there are those that do not make it. Now, government of Uganda is addressing this in various ways. There is the distribution of treated mosquito nets, but there is also a vaccine. There are plans for this. How far? What you need to know? Well, just get closer to your set because I have a team from Ministry of Health with whom we are going to be discussing this and more. Now, join me, welcome Dr. Jane Irene Nabakoza, who happens to be the Senior Medical Officer, Ministry of Health, National Malaria Control Development Program, and leading on malaria, chemo prevention, and vaccine. Most welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Then on my extreme end, I have Rukia Nakamate, who is a communication specialist with the Ministry of Health. Madam Rukia, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Now, just to begin with, Dr. Jane, when we talk about malaria, how big is this problem that you're even pushing for a vaccine now?
The problem of malaria is really big. I should say that among the diseases, it is the biggest. Globally, Uganda contributes, Uganda stands at 3rd position in terms of contributing to the cases.
Third,
following Nigeria and Democratic Republic of Congo. And it stands at 8th in terms of contributing to the deaths. On a daily basis in Uganda, just to describe the size of the problem, on a daily basis, we lose about 16 people due to malaria. You could equate that to an omnibus crashing in Mabila on a daily basis. That would be news. But
no one
silently,
survives.
Malaria kills 16 people every day. Somewhere, somehow, someone is dying, and cumulatively on a daily basis, you have 16 people. And for those that make it to hospital on a daily basis, if you find 10 people seated at the outpatient departments of the various health facilities in Uganda, about 3 to 4 of them will be because of malaria. And when you go to those that get admitted because of severe malaria, you realize that 2 to 3 of them out of 10 will be because of malaria. So to summarize it, about 30 to 40% of the outpatient attendance in the health facilities is because of malaria. That means that the remaining portion, that is about 60%, is covered by all the other diseases. So malaria is really a huge problem. And it doesn't stop there. When one is ill, for example, if I am ill in my household, I spend about $3 just to go to the facility. You remember that, you have to remember that the treatment is given free. But just for me to feed, to look after myself, I spend about $3. And in a year, it's estimated that a person may suffer about 3 to 5 episodes of malaria. And you know that once one person has malaria in a household, it means that a number of others will be infected as well. So what that means is that really families spend a lot on malaria, And you know that also because of the signs and symptoms of malaria, you're weak, the bones are paining, you have a fever, you're not able to work, so you're not productive. So you're spending, yet you're not earning because you're losing days of work. And if it's an employer, the employee is not working, yet they have to get a salary, they're also losing money. So cumulatively, money is lost. And also the country spends a lot. It spends a lot on preventing malaria and controlling malaria. And then when you go to the school-going children, the time they are sick, they will not attend school. That means the performance will not be as good as a child who never suffered malaria that entire year. But also the malaria has effects on their developing brain. They're not able to reason and judge well because of the many episodes of malaria as a child who never suffered from malaria. That means even as they grow up, they will not make proper decisions that will develop the country. So generally, the other big effect of malaria is it retards growth, economic growth of any given society, and generally for the country. So that's how big the problem of malaria is.
Now, that said, a quick one before I go to Rukia. Now, what causes malaria?
Malaria is caused by a parasite, a small organism called a parasite. Just to make it specific, that parasite is called Plasmodium. It has a number of types, but the type that is very common here is falciparum. So what causes malaria? It is that parasite. That parasite will be in Rukia, is blood. The mosquito, the female Anopheles mosquito, in an attempt to get a meal that is blood, it will pick the parasite because this parasite will be in blood. And then when it comes to me to pick another meal of blood, it will transmit to me the parasite. And then the next time it is picking from you, it will also transmit to you the same parasite. So, and once that parasite is in your blood, then you're going to suffer from malaria because then you have the cause of malaria in you. That is the malaria parasite. The mosquito just transmits.
Oh, it's a vector? Yes,
it's a vector.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Well, I was trying to see if I can recall some of my primary science.
Yes.
Now, going back to, now coming to Rukia, let's look at steps that government has taken or is trying to take to ensure we reduce malaria. The last I heard so much was once upon a time we had the DDT. I don't know where that ended. I've seen a few of mosquito nets, but what are those steps that our government, being ranking third in the entire world, is not a good global positioning for us, for a disease like malaria?
Thank you very much. The government of Uganda is undertaking a number of interventions to ensure that we fight malaria and we probably eliminate malaria in our country. In our National Malaria Strategic Plan, we aim at eliminating malaria by 2030. And as government, we are working really very hard to ensure that we achieve that objective. We wouldn't want to see any Ugandan dying of malaria after that time. But of course, it takes two. You know, government is doing its part, but we also need the individuals or the public also to take action. So for us, we are putting all the inputs and we are also rallying the communities, the public out there also to support the government efforts. One of the things that we are grappling with as a country and as far as elimination of malaria is concerned is the fact that we have a low risk perception for malaria. In that people don't take malaria as a very serious disease. You see, people will say, oh, I will die of this, you know, cardiac arrest. You see people doing exercise, doing very many prevention measures. But when it comes to malaria, because people think malaria is a simple disease, they take it for granted. They know when I get malaria, when I feel that I have the signs of malaria, I'll go to the next pharmacy or drug shop and get medication and I'll be fine. But malaria is very deadly. Dr. Jen has just explained almost every day 16 people are dying. So we need to ensure that we protect ourselves against malaria. People only realize that malaria is serious after they have lost someone. And that is when you will hear them saying, oh, can you imagine so-and-so died of malaria?
Actually, one
it
will
is
tell
at
you
that point when
how
they
does one
realize,
die of malaria.
Exactly, but
Almost
malaria is very
oh,
dangerous.
yes.
But malaria is very dangerous. Malaria is a disease which can attack you in case you do not seek treatment. You can get, it transforms into severe malaria. When you get severe malaria, then the chances of dying and the chances of saving your life are minimal. And this is why we are telling people, do not wait for malaria, you know, to get to severe state. By the time you go to a hospital, malaria has already attacked your liver, your kidney, and before you know it, you go and they're saying, oh, they're trying to, you know, they're trying to save the kidney. And before you know it, you have lost someone. And those are the questions where they come and say, how could so-and-so die of malaria? So
in this
now,
day and age.
in this day and age. And so this is why we are saying malaria is a behavior disease. Malaria is a preventable disease. We know what to do. And this comes to your question now. What is the government doing to ensure that we fight malaria in our country? There are many things that we are doing. One, on the side of prevention, we are putting a number of things. One, the government is the government continues to undertake the distribution of mosquito nets. Every 3 years, we conduct a campaign to distribute mosquito nets throughout the country. So, and this is intended to ensure that at least in every household, there is a mosquito net that is going to protect these people against malaria. Because these nets that we give out act as a barrier to people so that when it comes into a homestead, people are protected and they are not able to have this mosquito that Dr. Jen has explained for them that will transmit the malaria. So every 3 years, we ensure that nets are given. Still, and these nets, we continue to give out these nets through our routine processes. Through the routine, we give out mosquito nets under the ANC. When the children complete their vaccination at 9 months, we give them mosquito nets, because we know children are one of the most vulnerable categories of people. Children under 5, they are one of the most vulnerable people to malaria. So we ensure that we protect them by giving them a mosquito net. This does not wait for the mass distribution for 3 months, for 3 years, but every time this is a thing that goes on. We also continue to give out mosquito nets through ANC. When our mothers go for antenatal, we give them a mosquito net.
Why
because
is that
also pregnant women are so vulnerable to malaria. You know, their bodies are weak, their immunity is weak, so they can easily pick malaria. So that is why we also continuously give them mosquito net through our routine processes. So we think that one of the tools is that. Then secondly, government of Uganda is also carries out an exercise which is called the Indoor Residue Spraying Exercise, IRS, and this is done in the this exercise is done in really the high burden districts. These districts where we think malaria is so high, with districts that are posting very many cases of malaria. So we continuously do we do indoor residue spraying. This is a process where we apply chemicals on the wall. So that chemicals, it's called insecticide. So these insecticides are applied on the walls. So when the mosquito comes, it falls onto those walls that already have the insecticide and they die. So with here, we are able to protect the people who are in those households. So the other thing that we are doing is this indoor residue spraying is conducted right now. It is we are going to conduct this every year. We do it, and now we are going to conduct it in in all districts in West Nile, because malaria is really high in West Nile, and also some districts in Lango where malaria is high. So we feel that at least we shall be able to protect those people. Surely when you have indoor residue spraying, you have the mosquito nets, you're able to protect these people against malaria. The other thing that we are doing as government is we have an intervention called the seasonal malaria chemo prevention. Dr. Jen heads this intervention, and this is mainly done in Karamoja, where we give, like I said earlier on, malaria is so high in children under 5. So we protect these children before they get malaria by giving them some drugs. So these drugs are given to them. They don't have malaria, but we protect them. It's a protective drug so that they do not get malaria. So it is this exercise is being done in Karamoja, and it is done every 3 to 4 months. So, and we are sure that we have also protected such children. So, other than the prevention, still under prevention, we do a lot of sensitization and communication to the communities.
Now, Dr. Rukia, at that, let's get this very well. You talked about a residual spray, but what really took my mind so much is the distribution of mosquito nets. One, how informed are the public? Because it is a different thing to give someone, moreover, a free good and them applying it. I've seen this in people's courtyards, in gardens. One time I was a fishing site, a learning site. I met some of these. And much as a very good intervention, you must accept. But there are even people who simply tell you, me, I don't breathe well when I sleep under a mosquito net. Then also a funny story of some people who will tell you, but you see, I don't even have a bed. Where am I going to hang this mosquito net? How have you ensured proper usage of what is being given? More so when people are getting these things free of charge. And to the children, the infants you said of 9 months, I'm a parent. I don't remember when my children finished the vaccination and they got these nets. Pregnant mothers, at least for antenatal, have been very eager. Maybe because I've been in private hospitals. I've not seen these mosquitoes nets given during antenatal. Let's have some clarity on that.
Yeah, Dr. Jan will respond to that. Let me respond to the issue of the mosquito nets that you're talking about that are being misused. This takes me back to the issue I raised first when I first started speaking, is the perception of malaria. For us, we realize how severe, how dire malaria is. But the community there, because they think malaria is not that serious, this is why you see them misusing the nets that are being given to them. For us, we have done our part as government. We want the community to do their part. And what are we doing as government as we want the community to do their part? We are doing a lot of sensitization about how severe malaria is. We have empowered different structures at the community level to be able to do community sensitization. Someone, like I said, will tell you, oh, I cannot use a mosquito net because a mosquito, like you have said, it's so hot. I feel so hot when I use it. It itches me. But this is what we tell them. You're saying you cannot use a mosquito net because it itches you, it gives you a lot of heat. But malaria vis-a-vis the mosquito net, what gives more heat? When you get malaria or you sleeping under a mosquito net? Because we know it very well, when you get malaria, other than the heat, there are many other things that Dr. Jen talked about that will come along with the malaria. So we continuously sensitize them. Dr. Jen has told you, malaria, children do not go to school. The monies that you spend treating malaria, are they equivalent to the heat that you are talking about? So we try to sensitize the community by giving them some of this information. You're saying you cannot sleep in a mosquito net because it gives you heat. When you get malaria, you're going to get onto a border. You're going to experience heat. You're going on a border to go to a health facility. You have heat, you're paying a border, you're not even able to work because you're going, you're supposed to go to a health facility. You will go to a health facility, some of them are private, and you will have to spend money. So this is the thinking we are trying to tell them. Compare what you're saying, the heat, the itching, vis-a-vis what you are going to suffer from. And death. because there is also death. So those are the things we continuously tell people. Government, we are doing our part. Also do your part. You do not expect Rokia or Dr. Jen to come and hang up a mosquito net that we have given you as government to hang up in your house in the night. It is you to take that responsibility. There are many other prevention measures that we keep preaching about. Environmental management. Please ensure that you do not have grass around you, that where the mosquito is going to breed, the government is not going to come to slash your home. Remove the stagnant water. Government is not going to come to your doorstep to remove the stagnant water. So for us, our appeal to you is to ensure that do your part. We have a concept as Ministry of Health called the Mass Action Against Malaria, which emphasizes the issue is that fighting malaria is my individual responsibility. Take it upon you. Just as you say, oh, there's HIV. Just in case I do this, I need to use a condom. So even here, in malaria, or there is malaria, I can die of malaria. It is my individual responsibility to ensure that I sleep under a mosquito net, in addition to ensuring that you do the other prevention measures.
Now, that was said, Dr. Jane, I want to get to what many believe or think that maybe it's a better solution. This is the vaccination bit of it. To many Ugandans, it sounds totally new. And they may not even understand being vaccinated against malaria, but since you're the lady running this, let's go to this. When you talk about a malaria vaccine, do we have it? Is it already in progress? Is it being used? How far?
Yes, malaria vaccine. We should start at by noting that vaccination has been happening for other diseases.
Yes.
Including lately COVID-19. So any disease can have a vaccine. As we speak, the World Health Organization recommended the use of the malaria vaccine as one of the intervention tools for reducing the burden of malaria. For countries like Uganda and others, where burden is moderate to high. So this happened in October 2021. And we embarked on adapting that recommendation, I think many of the countries. This was after a number of studies, one, to check, does this vaccine work? Is it effective? Is it safe? And then after finding out that it is effective and it is safe and it can be used, they advised countries to adapt the use of the malaria vaccine. At that time, they recommended only one type of vaccine, the RTSS. And the World Health Organization and Gavi went ahead to guide countries on how they can adapt this malaria vaccine. Because this vaccine is new, it's not available in adequate numbers, so countries were guided to try and use those available supplies. And so mainly countries were guided to prioritize those parts of the country where the burden is high in terms of number being infected and then the numbers that die due to malaria. So to answer you, this vaccine is very effective and it works. And it can be used like we've used all other vaccines. But when you're to use that vaccine, it's not a magic bullet. You have to use it together with other interventions. Like all the other interventions, you don't use one intervention. Where they're doing IRS, we also encourage that when you're sick, you seek treatment. When you're among the vulnerable group and you're supposed to do the vulnerable groups and you're supposed to do chemo prevention, you go and get that medicine that is meant for chemo prevention, like the pregnant women, like the children under 5 in Karamoja. If you're sick, you go and seek treatment in time, because then you don't want to keep parasites and pass them on to everyone. So you go, and then you also don't want to progress to severe malaria and eventually die because of the severe malaria. So you use a number of interventions. Even with the malaria vaccine, it's going to be complementary to the other existing tools of prevention and control. So the malaria vaccine then that was recommended was RTSS. And just last week, the World Health Organization recommended another vaccine, that is the R21 matrix. That one is going to be available in more numbers than the RTSS. So right now, most of the countries are waiting for guidance from WHO on how they can use the tool. They'll guide us on whether you can first use the first one, and maybe for a few districts, and then maybe introduce this other one in some other districts. That
now, talking about Uganda, we adopted this. Are we using the vaccine right now?
We are not yet using the vaccine. Like I said, we only expressed interest last year in 2022, and we started resource mobilization. Funding is so far available for the first phase of rollout in the 19 districts, and the vaccine should be in country by April 2024 next year.
April 2024.
Yes.
Then we shall start using it in the 19 districts.
We shall start using it in the 19 districts for children under 5 years, majorly the children under 24 months, and that's children under 2 years.
Children, let me get you clear. Children under 5 years, children under 24, please, who qualifies to get this vaccine? You know, issues of health, you must be very sensitive and clear.
Who qualifies to get this vaccine is children under 2 years.
Children under 2 years?
Yes.
In these 19 most prone districts?
Exactly.
So, like, mention 2-3 of these districts. Which are these special districts?
Let me start by the regions. The regions that are going to benefit in the first phase include Acholi region. And in Acholi region, we are talking about all the Acholi region districts. That's Gulu City, Gulu district, Omoro, Amur, Nwoya, Kitugum, Lamo, and there are 9. Then Lira, we have about 6 districts: Lira City, Lira, Kwania, Oyam. And then we have Bukedi, we have 1 district, that's Busia. Then Busoga, we have 1 district, that's Bujiri. And then we have Bunyoro, we have Chiriandongo. Those are the districts benefiting from the first phase.
So you said next year, around April, the vaccines will have arrived in the country?
Yes, we've already started preparatory activities. I can say that for community sensitization mobilization, this is one of them. We are sensitizing community, even as we are sitting here. We're going to be doing a number of other demand creation and community sensitization activities, because those are some of the preparatory activities. We're going to update healthcare providers, because they are the ones. We're not going to do campaign for, we're not going door to door. We're going to integrate this vaccine into the routine immunization. So a child will be going back at 6 months, 7 months, and 8 months to get the malaria vaccine. And then at 18 months, they'll go back for a 4th dose that is meant to prolong the immunity. Yes, that is for the RTSS. And then we shall come back to communicate the schedule of R21 after we have guidance from World Health Organization.
Very interesting, and more so when you say it's going to be calculated within the immunization routine. Now I think there you have the parents, because issues of vaccines, I remember during COVID-19, and here I bring in Rukia, when we talk about children below the age of 2 years being the candidates here, April is not very far from now. How prepared is the is sensitization? You know, I don't know for some reasons, because vaccines have been here for a very long time. I think more so after 1986, so much effort was put in infant immunization. But still, when you mention vaccines, we raise ears, you know. Tell me my 2-year going to get a malaria vaccine. World Health Organization has approved this, we have whatever and all that. How prepared? We've talked about the campaign of nets being another challenge. So for this new thing, how prepared is your team to ensure that people get it, get the right information, we avoid experts yet who know nothing taking over?
Thank you very much. Rolling out a vaccine is not an easy thing, because we have had a number of challenges with even the existing vaccines. You hear dissenting voices talking about this against any vaccine. So in our plan, our rollout plan, we have a very comprehensive plan for sensitizing communities about the benefit of this malaria vaccine. One of the things that we are looking at is we have an approach which is called the human-centered design, where we are focusing on an individual benefit. What is it that I am going to receive as a benefit in this vaccine? So our plan is going to focus on the individual to ensure that the individual understands the benefit of the vaccine. So there are a number of things that we are integrating in this, and the most important intervention we are doing is community engagement. Is to ensure that we empower the community with the right information about the vaccine. One of the challenges that is coming about with the vaccine is the effectiveness and the safety of the vaccine. That is one of the things that we are going to keep preaching about. Like you have said, my 2-year-old child, how safe is my 2-year-old child with this vaccine? The things that we are going to focus on is the safety and the efficiency of the vaccine and the benefits of the vaccine. Once the community appreciates the importance of the vaccine, we shall be able to ensure that we create demand and people will be able to take these children to health facilities. The other tool that we are using are the health workers themselves. Remember, these children are getting the malaria vaccine at about 6, 7, 8 months. So, but these children are interfacing with the health workers right from when they are born up to the 6 months. So we are empowering the health workers to be our communicators. Every time they interface with the caretakers, now we are looking at the caretakers because we are not looking at the child. The child does not understand. So the caretaker of this child is the person we are looking at. So the health provider is our tool, is our key communicator to this parent, right from the child is born up to when they, remember, since it's going to be integrated, the child will always come back for other vaccines. So at every point when the child is brought back, it is at that point that the health worker is reminding these caretakers that the child is supposed to be brought back for the malaria vaccine at 6, 7, or 8 months. Then we have a number of CBOs, CSOs in the communities that we are also going to work with to ensure that they drum up the sensitization about the vaccine.
Now, in the interest of time, a quick one to Dr. Jane. Now, Dr. Jane, when one is vaccinated, and this I stand to be corrected, I know of diseases that when you're vaccinated, you don't get that disease. For example, polio. There was a time when almost every village had a person who had polio. It was normal. But since the vaccination now, we even had Uganda declared free of polio. But then COVID, when even if you are vaccinated, you could get COVID, but you would not deteriorate. Your immune system would be boosted. Now with the malaria vaccine, is it that once a child completes the 3 or 4, they will never get malaria, or they will still contract malaria, but then they will not deteriorate to the worst?
Oh, thank you so much. I need to really clarify this. The malaria vaccine, the 2 types that we have, will not prevent you from getting malaria when the mosquito bites you. Given the stage at which they work, they actually prevent malaria from progressing to severity. We have just learned that it's the severe malaria that causes death. It is the severe malaria, and especially in children. A child, once they have malaria, it will quickly progress to severe malaria, and then they will die. And so here, these 2 vaccines are going to prevent the children from getting severe malaria and from dying due to malaria. So this has to be very, very well understood. And where they have used the 2 vaccines, they've significantly noted death reduction, and severe malaria cases have reduced significantly.
So it is all about preventing severe malaria
and death. Yes.
Well, I just want to thank the 2 of my guests. Thank you so much, Madam Rukia and Dr. Jane. But I'll give each of you a minute as we wind up, and I'll begin with Rukia.
Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. I just want to probably update the public that we are continuing with our national mosquito distribution exercise. We have completed about 64 districts, and we still have another about 50 districts to go. Please ensure that when we get into your district, please ensure that you register for this mosquito net, pick your mosquito net, and most importantly, ensure that you use this net every night, so that in that way you'll be able to prevent yourself from getting malaria.
And doctors, we move out of the studios.
Thank you so much for hosting us and for giving us a chance to speak to Ugandans. As I wind up, I need to remind Ugandans that malaria is a silent killer. It kills most of the Ugandans. It's responsible for their attendance or for their being sick, and it's very responsible for keeping us in poverty. So it's a responsibility of everyone to understand that we are in a country where everyone is at risk of malaria. Although some other groups like the pregnant women, children under 5, and the visitors from countries where there is no malaria are at a higher risk, and that is why they are prioritized with special interventions. But everyone is at risk, and at risk of getting infected by malaria, at risk of being sick of malaria, and at risk of being disabled by malaria, and also dying due to malaria. So because everybody is at risk, it's everybody's responsibility to remain malaria free. Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, the entire year, the entire life, make sure you're malaria free by using the tools that are availed to you properly, knowing that when you use them, you remain malaria free. And if we can together keep fighting malaria by doing our respective responsibilities, I think we shall have a malaria free Uganda by 2030, and then we can now start working towards a middle income status by 2040.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. The vaccine will be in the country next year in April, and in the 19 most prone districts, that is where we shall have children below 2 years receive this vaccine. And of course, they will be getting a number of shots. Well, thank you so much. We'll be having you more as, of course, the vaccines arrive and progress, and for you to know why you should let this infant have this. Ruben is here to take you through sports. See you in the next hour. Good morning.